At 9:14 on a Tuesday morning, I sat inside a Huntington Bank branch in Cleveland Heights, staring at a text message from my son that cut deeper than I expected. "Dad, we reduced your allowance to $300 a month. It's for your own good." Funny thing about power people usually show you who they really are when they think they finally have some. My son Ethan thought I was an old man who needed managing. What he didn't know was that for 6 years I had quietly funded the salary that paid his mortgage, his leased Lexus, and half the confidence sitting behind that text message. I didn't argue. I smiled, because Ethan Ford had just made the most expensive mistake of his life. Stay with me here. People who met me for the first time usually got me wrong. That wasn't a complaint, just an observation. You spend enough years around people, you learn something important. Most folks don't see who you are. They see what makes them comfortable. A quiet, older man with a worn jacket and an old truck. They build the rest of the story themselves. My name is Walker Ford. I was 68 years old when my son decided I needed financial supervision. I lived alone in Cleveland Heights, Ohio, in the same brick colonial house Ellie and I bought back in 1989 for $142,000. Back then, interest rates were ugly and we thought we'd overpaid. Turns out time makes fools out of all predictions. The gutters needed repainting. The upstairs bathroom faucet dripped if you didn't shut it exactly right. The porch swing creaked. I kept meaning to fix it. Never did. My silver 2006 Toyota Tacoma sat in the driveway every day with its cracked passenger mirror and faded tailgate paint. Ethan hated that truck. "Dad," he'd say, "you can afford something newer." Maybe. But I liked knowing exactly how hard I had to shut the driver's side door in winter. I liked machines that told the truth. People were harder. Tuesday mornings meant Tommy's on Coventry Road, 7:30 sharp, black coffee, 2 eggs over medium, turkey sausage, wheat toast. Not because I couldn't afford better, because routine gives structure to life after loss. Ellie used to say routines are emotional handrails. She'd been smarter than me for 42 years. My wife passed 7 years before all this happened. Pancreatic cancer, fast, cruel. The kind that takes future plans first and people second. You don't ever fully recover from losing somebody like that. You adapt. You build strange little systems to survive. Mine involved old habits. Tommy's, my garage, Cleveland Guardians games on AM radio, too much black coffee, not enough sleep, and work. Or what used to be work. See, here's the thing Ethan never really understood. I wasn't an accountant. Not exactly. I was a forensic accountant. Now stay with me here. People hear accountant and think boring. Khaki pants, spreadsheets, tax season, a man excited about printer paper. No, my job wasn't numbers. My job was lies, specifically finding them. For 32 years, I investigated financial fraud, insurance scams, payroll theft, corporate embezzlement, fake nonprofits, phantom employees, shell vendors, missing grant money. You name it. If somebody thought they were clever enough to hide money, eventually people like me showed up. I worked cases across Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Illinois. I'd sat in conference rooms with executives making 7 figures who believed a smile could hide theft. It can't. Numbers talk. Most people just don't know how to listen. You learn patterns after enough years. Greed has patterns. Pride has patterns. Fear has patterns. People always think they invented deception. They didn't. The details change. Human nature doesn't. Ethan knew I'd worked finance. He didn't understand what kind. To him, I was retired. Old, slower. A guy who forgot passwords, needed help with streaming services, asked questions twice. Truth, I let him think that, not intentionally. At first, then eventually. Maybe a little. You know that look people get when they stop seeing you as fully capable, not cruel, not even malicious, just dismissive, like you've become furniture, useful, comforting, but no longer dangerous. Ethan developed that look around 50 pounds ago and 2 promotions ago. The irony, He got it from people I'd spent my life exposing. At 8:45 every Tuesday after Tommy's, I'd stop by Mercer Hardware. Not because I needed anything. Because Jack Mercer would usually be there. Jack and I had been friends 43 years, met through a fraud case involving a construction company in Akron back in 1983. Jack had been corporate counsel. I'd been the outside investigator. The company owner had stolen nearly $900,000. Jack bought me a beer after we closed the case. We've been arguing ever since. Jack was 70, former attorney, retired, divorced twice, proud owner of the loudest laugh in northern Ohio. Walker, he'd tell people, could find accounting fraud in a church bake sale. Jack, I'd answer, could bill 6 hours for saying hello. Friendship, old man style. That Tuesday after Huntington Bank, I drove toward Mercer Hardware. Not because I needed advice, because sometimes you need somebody who remembers who you were before life started taking pieces. Jack stood near lawn equipment wearing his usual Cleveland Browns hoodie, orange cap, reading glasses halfway down his nose. "You look terrible," he said. "Good morning to you too." "You sick?" "No." "Kids?" I looked at him. He looked at me. "Ah," Jack said quietly. "Kids." I handed him my phone. He read Ethan's text. Read it again. Looked up slowly. "No," he said. "That's pretty much what I said." "No Walker." He handed the phone back. "That boy lost his damn mind." I laughed. Laughed, which surprised me. Jack folded his arms. "You paying somebody to write comedy now?" "I'm serious." "I know." "He means well." "No, he doesn't." "He thinks he does." "That's worse." We walked slowly toward the parking lot. Cold wind, late October. Ohio trees turning orange and gold. Jack stopped beside my Tacoma. Still looked annoyed. "You gonna tell me what this is really about?" he asked. "What do you mean?" "I mean your son suddenly managing your money doesn't happen overnight." I looked across the parking lot. Gas station sign showed $3.49 a gallon. Somebody loaded mulch into an SUV. Normal life. Ordinary Tuesday. Funny how ordinary moments hold the biggest shifts. "I think Ethan forgot who I am," I said quietly. Jack leaned against my truck. "No." He adjusted his glasses. "Worse." "What?" "He thinks he knows." That sat with me, because Jack was right. Ethan hadn't forgotten. He'd rewritten. There's a difference. See, children don't notice when parents become smaller in their minds. Not immediately. It happens slowly. A little less respect, a little more correction, a little more patience in their voice. Like you're becoming fragile, manageable. I need you to understand something. Growing older isn't hard because your body changes. It's hard because people decide who you are before asking. Ethan thought he saw an aging widower driving an old truck, living alone, keeping routines, needing help. He didn't see the man who once uncovered a payroll fraud operation hiding nearly $6 million. Didn't see the investigator who spotted altered reimbursement reports in 12 seconds. Didn't see the man who spent decades learning that arrogance leaves fingerprints. People who underestimate quiet men leave evidence everywhere. And Ethan Ford had just started leaving his. People assume helping your children gets easier when they become adults. It doesn't. It just gets more expensive. Emotionally, financially, spiritually. Sometimes all three before lunch. Ethan Ford was 33 years old the first time I realized something had quietly broken inside him. Not shattered, not destroyed, just cracked. Hairline fracture. The kind you don't notice until weight gets applied. Ellie noticed it before I did. She usually noticed things first. Our son had always been smart, funny, charismatic, the kind of kid teachers loved, neighbors remembered, friends followed. You know, those people who naturally walk into a room like life already reserved space for them. That was Ethan. Growing up, he played baseball. Shortstop, quick hands, strong arm. Not quite talented enough for college scouts. Good enough to believe he might be. That gap can be dangerous. Being almost exceptional teaches strange lessons. Ethan graduated from Ohio State with a business degree. Sharp suit, big ambitions, bigger confidence. At 23, he told me over burgers at Swenson's Drive-In that he'd be making 6 figures before 30. I believed him. Ellie believed him harder. Parents do that. We invest emotionally in futures nobody can guarantee. His first job lasted 14 months. Regional marketing firm, Cincinnati, budget cuts, gone. Second job, healthcare software company outside Columbus, left after 11 months. Third job, commercial real estate. Bad timing, market shifted, company downsized. Fourth job, startup, collapsed. By 33, Ethan had moved 4 times, changed industries 4 times, updated his LinkedIn profile enough times to qualify for wrist surgery. He smiled through it, mostly. But failure changes people, especially people who built their identity around success, arriving quickly. One Friday night, Ellie found me sitting alone in the garage. This was years before we lost her. Summer. Hot enough the concrete held heat after sunset. I sat staring at nothing. Men our age do that, stare at things. Think, pretend we're not thinking. Ellie walked in carrying lemonade. She leaned beside me. No pressure, no questions, just presence. 42 years of marriage teaches quiet. Ethan called, she said. I know. He sounds tired. He'll figure it out. You always say that. Because he always does. No. She looked toward the driveway. He survives. I remember that sentence because it bothered me. Survives. Not thrives, not builds, not grows. Survives. You think we helped too much? I asked. No. You think we helped wrong? She didn't answer immediately. That meant she had an answer. Walker, she said quietly. Sometimes helping isn't lifting people. What is it? Making sure they know they're strong enough to stand. That sat with me. Still does. About 8 months later, Ethan lost another position, corporate restructuring. He called around 10:30 at night. Late enough parents know bad news is coming. Dad, yeah. I think I screwed up. No. I mean it. Tell me. He sounded exhausted. Different. Smaller somehow. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. That hurt. More than parents admit. Because nobody gives you a manual explaining how to watch your children doubt themselves. You aren't doing everything wrong, I told him. Feels like it. No. I keep trying. I know. No, you don't. Silence, heavy silence. I don't want people thinking I'm a failure. There it was. Not money, not career, identity. Ellie sat beside me on the couch, listening quietly. She heard everything, always had. After the call ended, she looked at me. No words, didn't need them. We understood each other. That weekend we drove 42 minutes to Chagrin Falls. Small cafe, cold weather. Ellie wearing her blue sweater. The one with sleeves too long. We talked for nearly 3 hours. About Ethan. About pride. About adulthood. About help. Real help. Not rescue. Not enabling. Help. 3 months later, Ellie and I sat inside the office of Ford Community Initiative. Our family foundation, small, private, created after I sold my consulting firm years earlier. Nothing flashy, nothing enormous, enough money to quietly improve lives, scholarships, community programs, youth education grants, food support initiatives. Ellie insisted on that last one. No kid learns math hungry, she'd always say. She believed practical kindness mattered most. We met with Valerie Brooks, executive director. 55, sharp, calm, former nonprofit operations leader, smart enough to notice details, kind enough not to weaponize them. We need something specific, Ellie said. Valerie folded her hands. What kind of specific? We want to fund a leadership operations role. Valerie nodded slowly. We could. Long term. That's possible? Performance-based, I added. No special treatment. Valerie looked between us. Someone in mind? Ellie glanced toward me, then back. Our son. Valerie sat quietly, thinking, which I appreciated. People should think before handling other people's children. He qualified? Valerie asked. Yes, I said. He'll interview. Yes. He'll know. No. Valerie blinked. I'm sorry. He can't know, Ellie said gently. Why? Because if he thinks we carried him, he'll never believe he earned anything. Valerie leaned back slowly. I need to understand. Ellie smiled. That smile, warm, steady, dangerously persuasive. We aren't buying him success, Ellie said. We're buying him time to become himself. Pay attention to this next part, because this matters. Ethan absolutely qualified. No fake credentials, no invented role, no family favoritism during interviews. Valerie interviewed 6 candidates. Operations leadership, program management, community outreach oversight. Ethan earned the position, but our foundation quietly funded it. Grant support, operational expansion budget, structured legally, documented correctly. Transparent where necessary, private where appropriate. $8,750 monthly, month after month, year after year. His salary, benefit support allocation, program overhead, everything properly structured, everything legitimate, everything invisible. Ellie made one rule. One. No telling him. Ever, I asked. Not while he needs it. What if he never stops needing it? She smiled. He will. I wanted to believe that. God help me, I really did. The first year changed Ethan. Confidence returned, energy returned, hope returned. He worked hard, very hard, stayed late, solved problems, learned systems, built relationships. Valerie called twice that year. Walker? Yeah? He's good. I know. No. Pause. He's really good. I sat in my garage after that call. Proud, quiet. Ellie walked out carrying coffee. He earned it, I told her. I know. No, I smiled. He really earned it. She squeezed my shoulder. I know. Years passed. Promotions followed. Ethan grew. Operations manager, senior leadership, more responsibility, more confidence. New clothes, new house. Leased Lexus. Shaker Heights neighborhood, Rachel, marriage, Lily, Mason, life expanding. Exactly what parents hope happens. Except something else expanded too. Ego, slowly, quietly, dangerously. The gratitude faded first, not dramatically, subtly. Then perspective. Then humility. The scary thing about success isn't failure afterward. It's forgetting who held the ladder steady while you climbed. One winter afternoon, Ellie stood at our kitchen window watching snow fall. This was 6 months before diagnosis, 6 months before hospitals, 6 months before life divided itself into before and after. You worried? She asked. About what? Ethan. No. Lie. She smiled. Knew it. Walker. Yeah. Promise me something. What? If he gets lost someday. She looked outside, snow covering everything. Help him find his way. I will. No. She turned toward me. Even if he hurts you. I laughed softly. Our son wouldn't do that. Ellie didn't answer. That's another thing about people who love you deeply. Sometimes they see storms long before clouds arrive. And years later, sitting in Huntington Bank, holding a text message cutting my allowance from $1,200 to $300, I realized something. Ellie had seen this coming, long before I did. 3 days after Ethan cut my allowance, he invited me to dinner. Funny how timing works. People make uncomfortable decisions and suddenly want pasta involved. Thursday, 6:00 p.m., Shaker Heights. Cold enough outside that Cleveland had started doing what Cleveland does every November, turning gray in ways that felt personal. I pulled into Ethan's driveway at 5:52, 8 minutes early. Old habit. My silver Tacoma looked almost embarrassed sitting beside Ethan's black Lexus RX 350. New model, clean enough to photograph. I shut off the engine, sat there a second. House lights glowing warm through the windows. Rachel moved through the kitchen carrying something. Probably dinner. For a moment, normal. Completely normal. You ever notice how families fall apart inside ordinary moments? Not explosions, not movie scenes, kitchen lighting, driveways, small conversations. That's where it happens. I grabbed the pumpkin bread I'd picked up from On the Rise Artisan Bread Bakery in Cleveland Heights. Rachel liked pumpkin bread, or at least she used to. The front door opened before I knocked. Mason, 7 years old, missing one front tooth. Walker, not Grandpa. Walker, long story. Started when Lily was little. Stayed. He wrapped himself around my leg. You came. I usually do. Mom made roast. Good. And carrots? Less good. He laughed. Rachel appeared behind him. 37, elementary school teacher, patient face, tired eyes. People raising kids and paying mortgages get tired eyes. Hi, Walker. Hey. She hugged me. Real hug. Not polite. Good sign. You didn't have to bring anything. I know. Pumpkin bread. You know me. Unfortunately. Rude. You raised Ethan. Fair. Good. Comfortable. Familiar. Lily came down the stairs. 10 years old, basketball hoodie, holding a tablet. Hi, Walker. Hey, kid. You still coming to my recital next month? Wouldn't miss it. You missed practice Tuesday. Had something important. That sound kids make, like tiny, disappointed accountants. I took my coat off. Family photos lined the hallway. Rachel and Ethan in Chicago, Disney trip, school pictures, Christmas photos, life, evidence of years happening. Then I saw it. A framed picture. Ellie, standing beside Lily at age 3, hospital bracelet barely hidden beneath her sweater sleeve. My chest tightened. That picture. I knew exactly when it had been taken. 3 weeks after diagnosis. Before chemo started. Before words like progression entered our vocabulary. Rachel noticed. I moved it there, she said quietly. Looks nice. She should be where people can see her. I nodded. Couldn't answer immediately. Loss gets quieter, never smaller. Dinner smelled like rosemary and garlic. Pot roast, mashed potatoes, green beans. The Ford family menu since approximately 1978. Ethan walked in from his office. Blue quarter-zip sweater, khakis, phone in hand. Hey, Dad. There it was, Dad, not Walker, not tonight. Interesting. Hey. He hugged me. Quick, distracted. Mind somewhere else. The traffic bad? He asked. No. Road construction near Cedar? No. Truck running okay? Truck runs fine. Still should get something newer. Rachel shot him a look. Good, she'd heard that conversation before. Dad likes his truck, she said. I know. Then stop trying to replace it. I wasn't. You always do. I'm literally not. You literally are. Marriage. The world's longest-running negotiation. Dinner started normal. Dangerously normal. Mason explained a school project involving ecosystems. Lily talked basketball. Rachel complained about district budget cuts. I told a story about Jack trying to install a smart thermostat and accidentally disconnecting his Wi-Fi for 2 days. Technology hates old men, I said. Technology hates you specifically, Lily corrected. Fair. Ethan laughed. Relaxed, comfortable. Too comfortable. Then, around 6:47 p.m., the pivot. You know that feeling conversation changes temperature. Nobody announces it. You just feel it. Rachel stood. I'll grab dessert. Ethan, I said quietly. Yeah. Need help carrying something? No. I do, Rachel called. I got it, Ethan answered. She disappeared toward the kitchen. Kids followed, Mason yelling something about whipped cream. Silence settled. Ethan leaned back, folded his hands. There it was. That posture, corporate posture, meeting posture, presentation posture. I recognized it immediately. Spent decades watching executives prepare bad decisions. Ethan, yeah, I need to talk to you about something. Okay. I've been worried. About what? You. I sat quietly. You okay financially? He asked. I'm fine. You sure? Yes. Because Rachel and I noticed some things. Pay attention to this next part, because sometimes people reveal themselves slowly enough they don't realize they're doing it. What things? I asked. You've seemed different. Different. Yeah. Different how? You've been spending more. I blinked. Spending? Yeah? Ethan. Just hear me out. Dangerous sentence. Your grocery bills seem higher. My grocery bills. Truck maintenance. My truck. Donations? Donations. Restaurants. I eat breakfast. Dad? There it is. What? Dad voice. What? That voice people use when they think they're being reasonable while saying something ridiculous. I'm trying to help. I know. No. He leaned forward. We're worried. We. Rachel and me. Interesting. Very interesting. Rachel didn't know. I could feel it. 32 years investigating fraud teaches pattern recognition. And Ethan's pattern looked familiar. Control disguised as concern. We reviewed your expenses, he said. My stomach tightened. You reviewed what? The account. The account. The family support account. Ah, there it was. Years ago, Ethan insisted on helping organize some recurring administrative transfers. Convenience, efficiency, one shared family oversight account. Practical, safe, trusted. Funny word, trusted. We think $1,200 monthly is too much. Silence. Real silence. Kitchen sounds drifting faintly. Silverware. Kids laughing. Life continuing. We adjusted it. Adjusted. Corporate language again. Adjusted to what? 300. I looked at him. Actually looked. My son. 39. Confident. Certain. Certain enough to believe certainty itself proved intelligence. For your own good, he said quietly. There it was. The exact phrase. The text. Delivered in person now, more official, more controlled. Ethan. Yeah. You reduced my allowance. It's not like that. Sounds exactly like that. We're trying to protect you. Protect me from what? Bad decisions. I stared at him, and something strange happened. I wasn't angry. Not yet. Mostly confused. Not financially. Emotionally. How long had he been thinking this? How long had concern quietly become authority? I don't need supervision, I said calmly. You need support. I support myself. Dad? No. My voice stayed quiet, steady. Careful. He leaned back, defensive now. You're making this bigger than it is. No, you were. You just didn't know it yet. Rachel walked back in carrying pie, apple, vanilla ice cream. She stopped immediately. Teacher instincts. Room reading. What happened? Nothing, Ethan said. Lie. Professional grade. Rachel looked at me, then Ethan, then me again. What happened? Nobody answered. She understood anyway. Not details. Energy, family energy, dangerous energy. I should head home, I said quietly. No, Rachel said immediately. Walker? I've got an early morning. Lie. Old man lie. Means heartbreak. Means retreat. Means not trusting your voice yet. Mason appeared. You're leaving? Yeah, buddy. You didn't eat pie. Next time. Lily frowned. You okay? Of course. No, not remotely. I grabbed my coat, passed the hallway, past Ellie's picture, stopped. Just for a second. Hospital bracelet, blue sweater, smile. Help him find his way, she'd said, even if he hurts you. Outside air hit cold, sharp, Cleveland November cold. I sat inside my Tacoma, hands on steering wheel, didn't start the engine, didn't move. Streetlights glowing, breath visible. And for the first time, not anger, not betrayal. Something worse. I realized my son thought he had power he'd never earned, and he had absolutely no idea where that power actually came from. I slept 3 hours that night. Not because I was angry. Anger burns hot, fast, temporary. What kept me awake was something colder. Recognition. See, people think betrayal arrives like lightning. Sudden, violent, impossible to miss. Most of the time, it arrives like dust, quiet, slow, settling over things until one day you realize you can't see clearly anymore. Friday morning, 5:42 a.m., coffee, black, kitchen table, same chair Ellie used to tease me about. You're wearing grooves into that cushion, she'd say. I looked out at the backyard. November had stripped most of the trees bare. The old maple still held a few stubborn orange leaves, fighting winter, losing, trying anyway. My phone buzzed. Jack Mercer. Too early. You're awake, I answered. Couldn't sleep. Me neither. You eating? Coffee. That's not food. Says the man who considers peanuts a balanced meal. I have almonds now. Health transformation? Doctor threatened me. Effective. Silence. Jack knew me well enough not to rush. You gonna tell me what you're thinking? He asked. No. Walker. No? Fine. 30 seconds. Maybe 40. I think Ethan believes he's protecting me, I said quietly. I think he thinks he's helping. I think he genuinely... No. I leaned back. You always do that. Do what? Turn human complexity into courtroom answers. Occupational hazard? He loves me. He does. He means well. No. I rubbed my forehead. Jack. He means control. That's not fair. No. Jack's voice stayed calm, quiet, dangerously calm. Walker, listen carefully. I hated when lawyers said that. People who help you don't quietly reduce your independence without asking. He was worried. No. No. You keep saying no. Because somebody has to. Silence. Then softer. Walker. Yeah. Your son humiliated you. I almost argued. Almost. Couldn't. Because he'd said the thing out loud. Humiliation, not financial, emotional. Parents understand this. Children slowly become adults. Then sometimes, adults begin parenting their parents before it's necessary. Not out of cruelty, fear, control, ego, love tangled with arrogance. Dangerous combination. I need breakfast, Jack said. Go eat. Grey dog, 9 o'clock. I'm not hungry. Good. Jack? 9. Click. Old friends. No respect for emotional boundaries. 9:03 a.m., Grey Dog Diner, Lakewood, crowded, warm, smelled like coffee and bacon in Ohio. Dana spotted me immediately, early 40s, fast-moving, perpetually unimpressed by human nonsense. Walker? Dana, you look terrible. Jack already covered that. Jack says it lovingly. You say it professionally. Coffee. Please. Food. Not hungry. You old men think emotional distress burns calories. Scientific fact. No. Jack sat in the corner booth. Cleveland Brown's hoodie, orange cap, reading glasses, pecan pie already sitting in front of him. You're late. 3 minutes. Character issue. Dana dropped coffee. Eat something, she said. No. Walker. No. You people age backwards. What? Teenagers refuse food when upset. I'm not upset, Jack laughed. Dana walked away, shaking her head. Tell me everything, Jack said. So I did. Dinner, conversation, allowance, the account, control, the silence afterward. Ellie's picture. Everything. Jack listened, didn't interrupt, didn't lawyer, just listened. When I finished, he picked up his fork, cut into pecan pie. Missed. Fork slammed harder than intended. Piece launched sideways, landed partly on the plate, partly not. You okay? I asked. No. Need medical assistance. Walker. What? Your son cut your money. Technically. He reviewed your spending. Concern. He decided your independence required supervision. Jack. He humiliated you. People hate hearing painful things twice. Doesn't make them less true. He thinks I'm old. No. What? He thinks you're harmless. That landed differently, because it felt accurate. Too accurate. Jack pointed the fork toward me. What did you used to tell clients? I knew immediately. Didn't answer. What did you tell executives after fraud investigations? He asked. I sighed. Trust patterns. Good. Jack. Trust patterns. I know. No. He leaned forward. Do you know? I stared into my coffee. Black. No sugar. No distractions. My mind started doing something familiar. Something old. Building timelines. Behavior patterns. Access points. Decision chains. Financial investigators don't stop thinking like investigators. Even retired. Maybe especially retired. You shared account visibility, Jack asked. Yes. How long? Years. He ever comment before? No. Recent changes, I thought. Actually thought. Not emotionally. Structurally. Pattern recognition, maybe? Maybe. Ethan asked questions recently. What questions? Donations. Okay. Truck repairs. Okay. Grocery costs. Okay. Church contributions. Jack nodded slowly. When? Past 6 months. There was more. Keep going. I stared past him. Gray weather outside, cars moving slowly, people carrying ordinary problems. Then wait. I bought Lily a laptop. Okay. Ethan asked about it. How? Big purchase, Dad. Jack said nothing. Good lawyers understand silence. It wasn't concern, I said quietly. No. No. Something shifted, small but important. Recognition. Investigators chase facts. Parents chase explanations. Those goals don't always align. What else? Jack asked. I thought harder. Christmas. 2 months earlier. Rachel mentioned daycare expenses increasing. Mason needed tutoring, property taxes, mortgage rates, life, expensive life, then Lexus payment, vacation, kitchen renovation, basketball camp, house upgrades, Shaker Heights, image, pressure. Pressure changes people. Not always into monsters. Sometimes into rationalizers. Dangerous difference. You think Ethan needs money? I asked. I think Ethan believes he deserves money. Not the same thing. Not remotely. My phone buzzed. Rachel. Interesting. I answered. Hey, Rachel? Walker. Her voice sounded tense. Controlled. Teacher voice. Conflict voice. You okay? Sure. No. No. Fair. Can we talk? She asked. Of course. Not phone. Interesting. When? Today. Everything all right? Long pause. No, not all right. I think Ethan left something out yesterday, she said quietly. There it was. Pattern shift. People hiding truth rarely hide it consistently. Someone always notices, especially spouses. I'll come by later, I said. Thank you. She hung up. Jack watched. What? Spouse knows? Maybe. No. Jack. Walker. He pointed toward me. You spent 32 years teaching companies fraud isn't discovered. What? It's revealed. Subtle distinction. Massive difference. Fraud survives secrecy. Control survives silence. Arrogance survives assumption. People expose themselves. Eventually. Always. Dana returned carrying eggs. I hadn't ordered eggs. I said no food. I said eat. Dana, you look like somebody who got emotionally audited. Jack laughed so hard coffee nearly came out his nose. I hate both of you, I said. No, you don't, Dana answered. She wasn't wrong. Funny thing, warm moments still happen during hard seasons. Actually, especially then. I ate eggs, toast, hash browns, life continuing, heart hurting, mind working. Then halfway through breakfast, a thought landed. Hard, sharp, specific, not emotional, financial, the account, the grant structure, Ford Community Initiative, Valerie Brooks, operational funding, leadership payroll allocation. My stomach dropped. Jack saw it happen. What? Not question, statement. What? He said again. I looked up slowly. Ethan doesn't know. Know what? He thinks his salary comes from non-profit operations. Jack stared, fork frozen, then very slowly. Oh no. Yeah. Oh, Walker. Yeah. Oh, that boy made a mistake. I looked down at my coffee. Cold now. Forgotten. Because suddenly, very suddenly, I wasn't thinking like a father anymore. I was thinking like a forensic accountant. And numbers. Numbers were about to start talking. I didn't go home after breakfast. That's usually how Jack knew I was fully awake. Emotionally upset, Walker went home. Investigator Walker drove toward problems. At 11:18 Friday morning, my Tacoma rolled into the parking lot outside Ford Community Initiative Satellite Administration Office near Euclid Avenue. Gray sky, wet pavement, Ohio doing Ohio things. I sat inside the truck for a minute. Engine off. Hands resting on the steering wheel. Old habits. Never walk into information angry. Anger sees what it wants. Facts require patience. My phone buzzed. Rachel. Can we still talk? I typed back. Around 3 inches, 3 dots appeared, disappeared, returned. Thank you. Interesting. People carrying uncomfortable truths type differently. Shorter, careful. I stepped out. Cold air, November wind. Building entrance glass reflected a 68-year-old man wearing a faded brown jacket and boots that should have been replaced 2 winters ago. You know something funny? People think wisdom arrives dramatically. It doesn't. Mostly wisdom is just pattern recognition with enough birthdays attached. Valerie Brooks still kept her office on the 3rd floor. Executive director, 55, sharp mind, calm voice, one of the few people I'd trusted completely during foundation work. Her assistant recognized me immediately. Walker? Hey, Susan. Need Valerie. If she's available. Always for you. 5 minutes later, I sat across from Valerie. Same office, same bookshelf, same framed nonprofit award from 2017. Different feeling. Worried face, Valerie said. I have a worried face. You have an auditor face. Worse? Much? She folded her hands. What's going on? I took a breath, then another. I need payroll reports. Her expression changed immediately. Not alarm, recognition, professional recognition. Walker? Valerie. Why? Question first. No. Valerie? No. There it was. Part of why she'd been so effective. Good nonprofit leaders protect institutions. Great ones protect people, too. Question first, she repeated. Has Ethan changed? Her eyes narrowed. Dangerous question, careful question, professionally. Yes. She leaned back, thinking. Good sign. Fast answers create bad information. He's capable, she said. I know. He works hard. I know. People trust him. I know. Pause. But, I asked. She looked toward the window. Downtown Cleveland blurred beneath low clouds. He got different. My chest tightened. Different how? Confident. That's not bad. No. Then what? Certain. I stayed quiet. She continued. Walker. Yeah. He stopped asking questions. There it was. Arrogance pattern, classic. People growing professionally ask questions. People growing ego believe they already know answers. When? I asked. Maybe 18 months ago. Specific changes. Leadership tone. Examples. He stopped reviewing details himself. Delegated more? Started pushing expansion ideas. Growth isn't bad. No. What then? He stopped listening. My stomach sank. Ellie would have noticed immediately. I would have rationalized. Again. What kind of expansion? I asked. Valerie turned toward her computer, opened files, scrolled, quiet office, keyboard clicks. Then, there. Leadership Development Initiative. Community Expansion Proposal, Regional Outreach Scaling, Funding Increase Requests, Budget Restructuring, Normal, Reasonable, Professional. Then Expense Allocations. I leaned forward, closer, slower. There. Line items. Executive Development Retreat, Miami. $9,400. Travel Reimbursement. Leadership Transportation Allocation. Vehicle Services. $5,600. Dining Expenditures. Consultation Entertainment. $3,100. Not illegal. Not fraud. Not automatically. But patterns. Patterns matter. Who approved these? I asked. Department sign-offs. Final approval. Multiple levels. Documentation. She looked toward me. Quiet. You think Ethan did something? Question, not accusation. Good. No. Lie. Professional lie. Old habit. She saw through it immediately. Walker, I need context. You think something happened. I think maybe something changed. Because of dinner. I looked up. What? You haven't visited payroll oversight in years. Fair, very fair. I leaned back, exhaled slowly. My son cut my allowance. Silence. Real silence. Professional silence. Human silence. Oh, Valerie said quietly. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Her face shifted. Not judgment, understanding. Complicated understanding. Walker? No. I wasn't. I know. No. She leaned forward. I really didn't know. I know? Walker? I said I know. People underestimate how much relief exists inside being believed immediately. No explanations, no convincing, just belief. Valerie opened another file. Fine, she said quietly. You want numbers? Yes. You get numbers. Pay attention to this next part, because greed almost never begins large. It grows, quietly. First report, travel, reasonable. Second report, meals, higher than expected. Third, consulting reimbursement. Fourth, vehicle allocation. Fifth, leadership development discretionary spending. Not illegal, not fraud. Not yet. But pattern. Escalation pattern. Classic. People spending other people's money slowly lose sensitivity to scale, not because they're evil, because familiarity dulls accountability. What's this? I asked quietly. Valerie leaned closer. Company card. Executive card. Approved. Policy allows flexibility. Documentation. Usually. Usually, dangerous word. I opened supporting records, dinner, steakhouse, Cleveland, fine, hotel, conference, fine, rental vehicle, premium class SUV. Fine. Then Miami. 3-night leadership summit. Cadillac Escalade rental. I blinked, read again. Cadillac Escalade, Miami. Leadership retreat. Interesting. Very interesting. Not because of money. Because Ethan hated unnecessary spending. Publicly, judgmentally, my truck too old, groceries too high, donations questionable. Meanwhile, Cadillac Escalade. Jack would have enjoyed the irony. I kept reading. Expense summaries, discretionary approvals, internal budget recommendations. Then something small, tiny, almost invisible. Leadership compensation proposal. Regional operational retention adjustment. Ethan's department. Requested compensation expansion. Approved pending budget availability. My chest tightened. Valerie. Yeah. Who drafted this? Ethan. Of course. How much? 7% adjustment? I stared. Not because 7% mattered, because timeline mattered. Date. 2 months ago. Same period Ethan began asking questions. My spending? My account, my groceries, truck repairs, donations, pressure, need, lifestyle expansion, money stress, control behavior, pattern. Classic pattern. Not fraud, not yet. But numbers were talking. Loud now. Very loud. Then my phone buzzed. Kyle Bennett, accounting manager, 31. Quiet, sharp, good with systems. We'd hired him 3 years ago. Unexpected. I answered. Walker. Mr. Ford? You can call me Walker. Right. Pause. Nervous, interesting. Everything okay? I asked. Yeah. No. No. Fair. I heard you were here. Valerie talks. She does? Silence, then. I think I should show you something. My heartbeat changed. Tiny shift, investigator shift. What? Not phone? When? Now. I looked toward Valerie. She watched quietly, professional, concerned. Ready. Okay, I said. Conference room B. 10 minutes later, Kyle sat across from me. Laptop open, hands nervous. Young professionals nervous around retired experts always reminded me of Ethan years ago, before certainty replaced curiosity. Walker, Kyle said quietly. I don't want to overreact. Good. I might be wrong. Good. I noticed something. Okay? He turned the screen. Spreadsheet. Grant allocation review. Operational support mapping. Leadership budget offsets. Then, my pulse slowed. Not fear, recognition. The feeling investigators get when puzzle pieces stop being puzzle pieces, because suddenly picture, clear, obvious, dangerous. Walker, Kyle said quietly. I think Ethan doesn't understand where some funding actually comes from. No, he didn't. Not even close. And suddenly, very suddenly, I realized something worse. Ethan wasn't just arrogant. He was making decisions based on assumptions, financial assumptions, the kind assumptions that destroy careers, and greed. Greed always gets sloppy. There are moments in life when pain arrives slowly, and then there are moments when pain opens the front door, walks into your kitchen, and sits down like it owns the place. Friday, 3:12 p.m. Rachel sat across from me at my kitchen table. Same kitchen Ellie used to dance in while making spaghetti. Same table Ethan did homework at. Same window over the sink. 40 years of family history sitting quietly around 2 cups of coffee nobody was drinking. Rachel looked exhausted. Not tired. Exhausted. Different thing. Teachers develop a certain kind of face after enough years. Patient, observant, capable of spotting trouble before children realize they're causing it. Right now, she had that face. Were you serious? She asked quietly. About what? Dinner? The allowance? Yes. Yes. Silence. She stared down into her coffee. Didn't touch it. Good sign things were bad. People drink coffee when life feels normal. What exactly happened? She asked. I told her. Not emotionally. Factually. The account, the reduction, the concern, the conversation, the supervision, every word, every detail. Rachel listened. Really listened. Didn't defend Ethan. Didn't explain him. Didn't interrupt. Which scared me, because spouses usually do one of those things. At minimum. He said he reviewed your spending, she asked quietly. Yes. And changed things? Yes. Without asking? Yes. Her jaw tightened. Interesting. Very interesting. You didn't know? I asked. No. Rachel. No. I believed her immediately. 32 years investigating dishonesty gives you unusual instincts. Rachel wasn't hiding. She was processing. Big difference. Ethan said he was helping organize things, she said quietly. He said you asked. I blinked. What? He said you wanted oversight. No. Silence. Heavy, complicated, dangerous. Walker, she said quietly. Yeah. Something's wrong. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, because she'd finally arrived where I'd been standing for 48 hours. Rachel? Yeah. How bad are things financially? Her eyes moved immediately. Window, counter, anything except me. Answer enough. Rachel? We're fine. Lie, soft lie, family lie, mortgage, kids, pressure, image, life. Rachel. Long pause. Then, Ethan refinanced last year? Okay. Rates changed. Okay. Kitchen renovation cost more. Okay. Basketball travel. Lily. She nodded. Mason tutoring. Okay. Property taxes. Rachel. I know. No, she didn't. Not yet. How stressed is he? More than he says. How long? Maybe a year? I leaned back slowly. Patterns, pressure, lifestyle expansion, identity maintenance, control behavior, familiar, dangerously familiar. He talks about money a lot, I asked. Recently. Specific. Planning. Specific. Budgeting. Specific. She stared at me, realized what I was doing. Walker. Specific. He talks about security. Control. Stability. Then, he says people who don't plan become burdens. The room got very quiet, because suddenly, the allowance conversation sounded different. Not concern, fear, mismanaged fear, fear-wearing arrogance, still wrong, but different. I looked toward Ellie's picture near the living room bookshelf. Blue sweater, soft smile. You spend enough years married to somebody, eventually you start looking toward them even after they're gone. What aren't you saying? Rachel asked quietly. I looked back. What? There's something. No. Walker. No. Please. I almost told her. Almost. Foundation, grant, salary, everything. Almost. Then, no. Not yet. Not without facts complete. Not without understanding full scope. Not without knowing whether my son had become careless. Or something worse. Rachel stood slowly, grabbed her coat, stopped near the doorway. He changed, she said quietly. When? Maybe 18 months? Same timeline Valerie gave. Interesting. He gets impatient faster. Corrects people. Acts like he already knows things. He wasn't always like this. No, he wasn't. I think he's scared, Rachel whispered. And then she left. I sat alone for a long time after that. Kitchen quiet, clock ticking, November light fading early. Ohio winters steal daylight aggressively. By 5:11 p.m. it already looked late. Dark enough for reflection. Dangerous enough for memory. My phone buzzed. Kyle Bennett. Again. Walker? Yeah. I found something else. My stomach tightened. What? Email. Every investigator knows those moments. Digital records, emails. People trust email too much, always have. Because typing feels temporary, it isn't. Forward it, I said. I don't think I should. Why? Long silence. Walker? What? You need to see it yourself. 35 minutes later, I sat in conference room B again. Kyle looked nervous. More nervous than before. Laptop open, hands folded. Not good. What is it? I asked. Context first. I hated context. Just show me. Walker, show me. He rotated the screen. Email chain, internal, leadership planning, budget projections, operational expansion, fine. Then subject line, Whitaker Legacy Renewal Strategy. No, not Whitaker. Ford Legacy Renewal Strategy. My stomach dropped. Slowly, dangerously. Open it. Kyle did. Slide document, professional, clean, corporate language. Page 1, leadership continuity planning. Page 2, long-term donor relationship restructuring. Page 3, personal notes. And there, write their words, actual words. Walker responds best to emotional framing rather than direct financial discussion. My pulse slowed. Dangerously slow. Current dependency patterns create opportunity for transition planning. No. Page 4. Long-term objective formalize oversight of Ford Community Initiative assets. I stared. Didn't blink. Couldn't. Kyle sat perfectly still. Smart. People witnessing pain should learn stillness. Then the line, the one. The sentence that changed everything. Walker remains emotionally manageable if approached through concern rather than confrontation. Emotionally manageable. My son, my actual son, 39 years old, writing strategic notes about me, like I was a project, an obstacle, an aging donor profile, something to manage. Not father, not family, manageable. I leaned back slowly, breathing carefully, very carefully. Kyle looked terrified. Walker? When? 2 months ago. Who saw this? Leadership planning group. Who? Kyle? Walker. Who? He swallowed. 3 people. Names. He gave them, good, professional, clear. My vision blurred slightly. Not tears, age, stress, heartbreak, different things. You know what's strange? People think betrayal feels explosive. It doesn't. Real betrayal feels administrative. Clean. Professional. Organized. Words and documents. Meetings. Quiet decisions. People becoming strangers, slowly enough that love keeps making excuses. Walker? Kyle's voice sounded far away. What? I don't think he meant... No. I stood. Chair moved sharply backward. Not anger. Not yet. Something colder. Final. I think he absolutely meant it. I drove home in silence. Dark roads. November rain starting. Windshield wipers struggling. Cleveland traffic crawling. Normal life. Ordinary people. Ordinary problems. And me. 68 years old. Driving a truck my son thought was embarrassing. Realizing something ugly. Something I'd avoided seeing. Ethan hadn't become cruel. Cruel would have been easier. He'd become entitled, arrogant, convinced his intelligence justified control, convinced love gave ownership, convinced concern excused disrespect, and worst of all, he believed he was right. I parked in my driveway, didn't move. Rain tapping softly against cracked passenger side glass, garage light glowing, home, quiet, empty. I looked toward the house, toward the kitchen, toward Ellie's picture waiting inside. Help him find his way, she'd said, even if he hurts you. I sat there another minute, then another, and finally, for the first time since Huntington Bank, I made a decision. I wasn't protecting Ethan anymore. Not from consequences, not from truth, and definitely not from himself, because greed had finally done what greed always does. It got sloppy. Saturday morning arrived cold enough to make my knees negotiate with gravity. Getting older is strange. At 30, you jump out of bed. At 68, your joints schedule a committee meeting first. I stood in my kitchen wearing flannel pajama pants and a Cleveland Guardians sweatshirt older than some professional athletes. Coffee brewing. 7:02 a.m. Dark outside. Ohio winter slowly moving in, like an unwelcome relative who stays too long. I hadn't slept much. Again. But something inside me had changed. Not anger. Direction. There's a difference. Anger makes noise. Direction makes plans. My phone buzzed. Jack. Of course. You alive? He asked. Barely. Good. Good. Means you're thinking. I've been thinking. Bad. No. Walker. What? Thinking alone turns old men weird. We were already weird. Fair point. I smiled despite myself. Jack had a gift. 43 years of friendship teaches people where your emotional exits are, and how to block them. You busy? He asked. Depends. Breakfast? No. Walker? No. 8:30. I'm not hungry. Nobody asked. Click. Man hung up on me, again. Some friendships survive because both people are too stubborn to leave. 8:34 a.m. Grey Dog Diner. Jack already sitting down. Coffee, toast, Brown's hoodie, orange cap. Same uniform. Dana spotted me immediately. You look worse. Good morning. No food. Not hungry. She looked toward Jack. He's doing that thing. I know, Jack said. What thing? I asked. Walker thinks emotional suffering is a personality. I hate both of you. No, you don't, Dana said. Correct again. I sat. Coffee arrived. Black. No sugar. Routine. Comfort. Structure. Necessary. Jack waited. Patient. Dangerous. You gonna tell me? He asked. I did. Kyle? Email? Manageable? Planning documents? Everything. Jack listened quietly, which scared me more than yelling would have. When I finished, he leaned back, exhaled slowly. Okay? Okay. Okay? You said okay 3 times. I know. Meaning. Meaning now we stop being emotional. I wasn't emotional. Walker? Fine. Good. He pointed his fork toward me. What happens next? I don't know. Wrong. What? You absolutely know. No, I didn't. Not fully, not yet. I know Ethan needs consequences. No? What? Consequences happen naturally. Jack, you know what happens next. I stared into my coffee. Thought, foundation, grant, funding, leadership, Valerie, Kyle, board oversight, audit authority, documentation, truth. Then, I need independent review. Good. Freeze renewal discussions. Good. Verify expense policies. Good. Confirm reporting chains. Good. Protect Rachel. Jack nodded immediately. Very good. Lily? Yes? Mason? Yes. Foundation? Yes? Ethan? Long pause. Yes, Jack said quietly. Funny thing, people think revenge begins with anger. Real revenge starts with clarity. Around 10:15 a.m. I called Valerie. Walker, I need independent review. Pause. Professional pause. Expected pause. Okay. Quietly. Okay. No accusations. Agreed. No assumptions. Agreed. Policy verification. Agreed. You understand. Walker. Her voice softened. I understand. Good. Because nonprofit organizations aren't businesses. They're trust. Trust breaks differently. We also need grant renewal freeze. Long silence. You sure? Yes? That's going to create questions. I know. Ethan won't like it. I know. Walker. What? Once this starts? I know. No, I didn't. Not completely. But enough. By noon things were moving. Professional review. Compliance confirmation. Documentation verification. Quiet, controlled, proper. No drama. No accusations. Truth doesn't need volume. At 1:42 p.m., my phone buzzed. Ethan. Interesting. Very interesting. I answered. Hey, Dad? Hey, you busy? No. Need help with something. Dangerous sentence. What? Foundation renewal stuff. Pause. Interesting. Okay. We should probably meet. Why? Planning. Planning. Yeah. Okay. When? Monday. Sure. His voice sounded relaxed, confident, normal. He didn't know, not yet. Everything okay? He asked. Fine? You sure? Of course. Lie. Professional lie. Inherited from him, apparently. Good, he said. Talk Monday. Click. I sat quietly, thinking, timing. Interesting timing, very interesting timing. At 3:08 p.m., Valerie called. Walker? Yeah. Question. Okay. Ethan requested grant renewal acceleration. My chest tightened. When? Wednesday. Allowance day. Interesting. Very. He said strategic planning needed certainty. Walker. Yeah. You were right. No, worse. I was early. You know what's dangerous? Smart people making greedy decisions? Because smart people build explanations, stories, logic, justifications. They convince themselves first, then everybody else. I drove to Mercer Hardware around 4. Needed movement, needed air, needed normal. Jack stood outside talking to somebody about snowblower maintenance. He spotted me. Conversation ended immediately. Bad face, he said. Thank you. You eat? Some. Liar. Professional instinct. Walk. We walked. Cold wind, clouds low, traffic noise, ordinary Saturday. Talk, Jack said. Renewal acceleration. Oh no. Yeah. Oh, Walker. Yeah. Jack shoved his hands deeper into his coat. Still protecting him? He asked quietly. I don't know. Yes, you do. No. Walker. What? If this were anyone else, I stopped walking. Because he was right. If this were anyone else, executive director, manager, department head, stranger, I'd already know exactly what came next. But fathers aren't objective, that's the problem. Love distorts evidence, sometimes beautifully, sometimes dangerously. I promised Ellie, I said quietly. Jack didn't answer immediately. Good, smart. You promised to help him, Jack said eventually. Yeah. Not protect him forever. Silence, wind cold, cars passing, life continuing. I know. No. Jack looked directly at me. Walker. What? You keep thinking this moment is punishment. It isn't. No. What is it? Correction. Correction. Funny word, powerful word, painful word. We walked another minute, maybe 2, then my phone buzzed. Email notification, Kyle Bennett. Subject line, need you to see this immediately. I opened it. Spreadsheet attachment, budget projections, leadership continuity planning. Already saw those. Then another attachment, not spreadsheet. Email draft, never sent, saved, internal, from Ethan. Addressed to someone. Subject line, transition discussion. I opened it, read once, twice, third time slower. My pulse changed, dangerously calm. Not anger, not heartbreak, worse, clarity. Because suddenly, very suddenly, I realized Ethan wasn't planning around me. He was planning beyond me. And Monday was going to become very important. Pay attention to this next part, because some people walk into traps, others schedule themselves into them. And Ethan Ford had just picked the date himself. Monday morning arrived cold, sharp, and painfully clear. Cleveland weather has a talent for making serious days feel more serious. 7:11 a.m. Coffee. Black. 2 pieces of wheat toast. 1 untouched. You know you're carrying something heavy when toast survives breakfast. I stood at my kitchen sink, staring into my backyard. Bare trees, gray sky, the old maple finally losing its last stubborn leaves. Ohio, November. No drama, no beauty, just truth. Appropriate. My phone buzzed. Jack. Still alive? He asked. Barely. You sleep. No. Good. I hate when you say that. I know. Jack. What? I'm not looking forward to this. No. I'm serious. So am I. Silence. Heavy. Real. Walker, he said quietly. Yeah. You know the difference between revenge and accountability. Explain. Revenge hurts people because you're angry. And accountability hurts people because reality arrived. Reality arrived. Good sentence. Dangerous sentence. You're not humiliating your son today, Jack continued. Feels like it. No. Jack. Walker. His voice changed. Friend voice. 43 years voice. You gave him 6 years. I stared outside. Maple tree, empty branches, quiet. You gave him support? Yeah. You gave him dignity? Yeah. You gave him time? Yeah. You gave him trust? Silence, Nonura. And what he does with truth after today, Jack said softly, belongs to him. The call ended. I stood there another minute, maybe 2, then grabbed my coat. Brown canvas, worn cuffs, old habits. My Tacoma started on the second turn. Like always, 8:38 a.m., Ford Community Initiative. Conference room 3. Glass walls, long walnut table, coffee station untouched, projector screen waiting. Quiet. Professional. Clean. Too clean. Valerie sat near the far end. Calm, controlled. Kyle beside her. Nervous. 3 board members already there. Marianne Foster. Retired banking executive. Robert Gaines. Former school superintendent. Angela Holloway. Community development director. People Ellie trusted. People I trusted. People serious enough to deserve truth. No accusations had been made. No conclusions. Only review. Verification, documentation, reality. 8:54. Ethan arrived. Navy suit, blue tie, leather portfolio. Confident. Relaxed. Smiling. My chest hurt. Because for one terrible second, I saw 22-year-old Ethan. College graduation, handshake, future still soft around the edges. Then he looked at me, and 39 came back. Morning, Dad. Morning. You okay? Fine. Lie, professional lie. Inherited from me, apparently. Rachel wasn't there. Good. Kids at school. Good. Some moments don't belong to children. Everyone's here, Ethan asked. Valerie nodded. Ready when you are. Ready, funny word. He connected his laptop. Projector screen lit up. Title slide. Leadership Continuity and Strategic Expansion Initiative. Of course. Corporate language, professional language. Language that makes uncomfortable things sound responsible. Thank you, everybody, Ethan said. Confident voice. Presentation voice. I've spent the last 18 months evaluating long-term sustainability. Click. Slide change. Growth projections. Community outreach. Operational efficiency. Fine. Reasonable. Professional. Board members nodded, took notes, listened. He looked good, prepared, sharp. My son had always been sharp. That's what made this hurt. 20 minutes. 22. 25. Then slide. Foundation alignment. Future funding strategy. My pulse slowed. Dangerously calm. To maintain continuity, Ethan said smoothly, we need greater financial predictability. Click. Funding stability metrics. Click. Leadership security planning. Click. Donor relationship restructuring. Click. Ford Community Initiative. My foundation, Ellie's foundation, our life's work. We should modernize oversight systems, Ethan said. Marianne adjusted her glasses. Explain. Long-term donors benefit from structured guidance. Guidance. Interesting. Robert leaned forward. What kind? Financial visibility. Angela spoke. Meaning? Support systems. Support. Interesting. Very. Then there, the phrase, the exact phrase. Some stakeholders require thoughtful oversight structures. Stakeholders. Not family. Stakeholders. I looked down. Hand steady. Good. Needed steady. Needed calm. Needed truth. Questions, Ethan asked. Silence. Professional silence. Then Valerie. Walker? Simple, quiet, just my name. I stood slowly, every joint reminding me 68 isn't 28. Funny thing, people imagine confrontation feels powerful. It doesn't. Mostly it feels sad. Morning, everybody, I said quietly. Marianne smiled politely. Robert nodded. Angela folded her hands. Ethan relaxed slightly. Still confident, still comfortable, still unaware. I've reviewed leadership planning materials, I said. Ethan nodded. Good, confident. Good. I've reviewed budget requests. Excellent. I've reviewed compensation proposals. Tiny shift. Almost invisible. Almost. I've reviewed operational spending. Another shift. Small, subtle, professional instincts. He felt movement, didn't know direction. I've also reviewed grant structures. Now? There. Tiny pause. Half second. Maybe less. Enough. Pay attention to this next part. Because arrogance doesn't collapse dramatically. It cracks quietly. I'd like clarification, I said calmly. Sure, Ethan answered. Leadership retention proposal. Okay. 7% adjustment request. Market alignment. Interesting. Industry standard. Walker? Cadillac Escalade. Silence, tiny, sharp. What? Ethan asked. Miami. Leadership conference. Cadillac Escalade. Board members looked up. Interesting. Very. Transportation allocation, Ethan answered. Professional. Prepared. Good. Premium transportation necessary. It fell within policy. Good. I nodded. Calm, steady. Operational expense approvals. Documented. Good. Walker. Leadership continuity planning. What about it? Emotionally manageable. Silence. Real silence. Boardroom. Silence. Dangerous silence. Ethan froze. Tiny. Almost invisible. But not invisible to me, never invisible to me. What? Walker remains emotionally manageable if approached through concern rather than confrontation. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Not visibly. Walker? Current dependency patterns create opportunity for transition planning. Marianne slowly removed her glasses. Robert leaned back. Angela stopped writing. Walker, Ethan said quietly. One more. I opened the folder, brown leather, old, worn, professional habit. Ford Community Initiative Leadership Allocation. My voice stayed calm, quiet, steady. 6 years operational support. Ethan stared, confused. Good. Grant funding source. I slid documents forward. Valerie said nothing. Kyle said nothing. Truth didn't need help. Ethan, I said softly. You know where your salary comes from? Silence. No answer. I assumed. Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. Confusion, fear, recognition arriving slowly, dangerously. No, he whispered. 6 years. No. $8,750 monthly. No movement, no sound, no breathing. Your position qualified, I said quietly. You earned opportunities? No. You worked hard? No. You deserved support. Silence. Dangerous silence. But you never knew where the floor beneath you came from. He stared at papers, numbers, transfers, grant structures, documentation, dates, years, reality. Reality arriving. You cut my allowance, I said quietly. Nobody moved. $300. Ethan looked up, face pale. Gone. Confidence gone. Presentation voice gone. Corporate posture gone. Only my son left. Broken, terrified. Human. No. Quiet, steady. You thought I depended on you. Silence. You thought concern justified control. Silence. You thought success belonged entirely to you. Silence. Ethan. My voice nearly broke. Almost, not quite. I would have given you everything. Real silence now. Human silence. Pain silence. I practically did. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. Outside, November wind moved bare trees. Inside, reality sat down quietly. And finally, for the first time all morning, Ethan Ford understood exactly where power had actually lived all along. People think winning feels loud. It doesn't. Not real victories. Real victories are quiet, complicated, heavy. Monday afternoon after the board meeting ended, I sat alone inside my Tacoma, parked 3 rows away from Ford Community Initiative. Engine off, heat off. November cold slowly crawling into the cab. I didn't move. Didn't start the truck. Didn't celebrate. Because sitting across from your son while his understanding of reality breaks apart isn't satisfying. Not when you love him. Not when you remember who he used to be. My phone buzzed. Jack, of course. You alive? He asked. Barely. How bad? Bad. You okay? No. Good. I really hate when you say that. I know. Silence. Wind pushing lightly against the truck. Traffic moving down Euclid Avenue. Life continuing. Always continuing. You know, Jack asked quietly. Yeah. Everything. Yeah. Long silence. Walker. What? You crying? No. Lie, little. Walker. Little. Okay. Okay. Good. I hate you. No, you don't. No, I didn't. Go home, Jack said softly. Yeah. And Walker. What? Don't confuse consequences with cruelty. Click. Call ended. I sat there another minute, maybe 2, then started the Tacoma. Second turn, like always. Tuesday morning. Valerie called. Independent review officially expanded. Board voted unanimously. No accusations, no scandal, no headlines, just process, professional process, documentation review, policy verification, compliance audit, necessary, responsible, painful. Ethan stepped back voluntarily, Valerie said quietly. My chest tightened. Stepped back. Temporary. Temporary. Funny word. Sometimes temporary means forever wearing polite clothes. Walker? Yeah. He looked devastated. Good. No, not good. Human. Necessary. Consequences. Jack's word. Correction, not punishment. Correction. By Thursday, Rachel called. Voice quiet. Careful. Walker. Hey. You busy? No. Long silence. Can you come by? Shaker Heights. 6:15 p.m. Cold rain. Dark early. Ohio November refusing optimism. Rachel opened the door. Tired. More tired than before. Teacher tired. Mother tired. Life tired. Were they here? I asked quietly. Lily and Mason. Yeah. Homework. Okay. Ethan's upstairs. Pause. Dangerous pause. He hasn't been himself. No, he hadn't. I stepped inside. Same hallway, same family pictures, same framed photo of Ellie, blue sweater, hospital bracelet, still there. Good, very good. Rachel stood quietly beside me. He knows I know now, she said softly. The allowance. Everything. I nodded slowly. Rachel. Yeah. You didn't deserve this? Neither did Ethan. Hard truth. People who hurt others are often hurting themselves first. Doesn't excuse it, explains it, different thing. Ethan refinanced because he thought promotions would keep coming, she said quietly. I stayed silent. He expanded everything. Kitchen, cars, travel sports, private coaching, lifestyle, image, pressure. He thought success would keep growing forever. Dangerous assumption. America quietly teaches people that bigger means safer. It doesn't. Sometimes bigger just means heavier. He didn't know, Rachel whispered. I know. He really didn't. I know. Tears, small, controlled, exhausted tears. Harder to watch than dramatic ones. He kept saying, she stopped. What? He kept saying he became somebody. My chest hurt. Because there it was. The thing underneath everything. Identity, not greed, not money. Identity. He'd needed success to prove value, then confused value with ownership, control, authority, power, dangerous path. He upstairs? I asked. Rachel nodded. Yeah. I walked slowly toward the stairs. 40 years inside family homes teaches you stairs feel different depending on why you're climbing them. Bedroom door open, light on. Ethan sat on the edge of the bed. Sweatshirt, jeans, no confidence. No presentation voice, no leadership posture. Just my son, 39, broken, human. For a second, 23 again. Lost job, fear, phone call. Dad? Yeah. Can we talk? I sat. Chair near the window. Rain outside. Silence inside. Heavy. Necessary. I didn't know, he said quietly. I know. No. His voice cracked. I really didn't. I know. Silence, then. I earned it. Yeah. He looked up. Eyes red, confused, angry, ashamed, human. I worked hard. Yeah. I earned my position. Yeah. I wasn't pretending. No. You funded it. Yeah. Silence. Dangerous silence. I didn't know. I know. You should have told me. Maybe. Maybe not. Hard thing about parenting. No perfect choices, only choices. You thought I depended on you? I said quietly. Tears. Actual tears now. I thought, I know what you thought. I wasn't trying to control. Silence. I thought I was helping. I know. I wasn't trying to hurt you. I know. Then why does it feel like everything exploded? Because truth rearranges things. That's why. Because actions keep moving after intentions stop, I said quietly. Ellie's sentence. Not mine. Always smarter. I saw your spending, Ethan whispered. I know. I worried. I know. I thought. I know. No anger. Strangest part. No anger left. Only sadness. I got scared, he whispered. There. Truth, finally. Mortgage, pressure, identity, lifestyle, fear, human fear wearing arrogance. I thought if things fell apart. He stopped. What? I couldn't fail again. My chest tightened. There! Hairline fracture. Years old, still there, still hurting. Failure. Fear, identity. Everything Ellie saw years ago, everything I'd missed. I'm sorry, he whispered. Not dramatic, not movie speech, not perfect, real, small, human. I know, I said quietly. Silence. Rain. November darkness. Breathing. Family. Broken. Not destroyed. Broken. Difference matters. Friday evening, Lily had her recital. Middle school gym, too many folding chairs. Bad acoustics. Parents holding phones too high. Normal life. Beautiful life. I carried flowers from Giant Eagle. White roses. Lily liked white roses. Mason sat beside Rachel. Ethan sat 2 chairs away. Didn't look at me, not angry, ashamed, harder. Lily spotted me before starting. Smiled. Tiny smile? Enough. Performance started. Music. Kids. Wrong notes. Beautiful wrong notes. Life. Halfway through, I looked sideways. Ethan watching Lily, shoulders lower, smaller somehow. Human-sized again, good, painful, necessary. Afterward, Lily ran toward me. Walker, flowers. Hug, joy, simple, pure, necessary. You came. Always. 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 I looked up. Ethan stood 10 feet away, hands in pockets, rain jacket, quiet, lost, found, both. You know something strange? Winning doesn't fix families. Truth doesn't automatically heal people. Consequences don't erase love. Life keeps going. Repair keeps going. And standing under cold Ohio November rain holding flowers outside a school gym, I realized something. I'd won the fight, but rebuilding my son. That part wasn't finished. Not even close. Winter arrived early that year. Not calendar winter, Ohio winter. Gray skies. Wind that found places your jacket missed. Mornings cold enough to make coffee feel like medicine. 3 months passed. Life kept moving. Funny thing about major life events, you think they'll leave giant visible scars. Most don't. Most leave quieter things. Changed routines. Longer pauses. Different conversations. Or conversations that stop happening entirely. Ford Community Initiative completed its independent review 2 weeks before Christmas. No fraud. That mattered. No criminal charges. No stolen money. That mattered too. Policies tightened. Expense approval structures changed. Oversight systems updated. Leadership accountability strengthened. Necessary. Professional. Clean. Ethan resigned 6 days later. Voluntarily. Valerie called me personally. He said the organization needs trust, she told me quietly. My chest tightened, because that sounded like growth. Painful growth. Still growth. What happens now? I asked. He figures out who he is without proving things, Valerie said. Smart woman. Always had been. Rachel picked up substitute teaching work at a neighboring district temporarily. More hours, more stability. Ethan took consulting projects. Small ones. Not glamorous. Not leadership titles. Not presentations. Work. Actual work. The kind work teaches humility through repetition. Life stripped away image, left foundation. Sometimes that's Mercy wearing hard clothes. Jack Mercer called every Tuesday. Still, same time, same attitude. You alive? He'd ask. Barely. Good. One of these days I'm blocking your number. No, you won't. No. No. Friendship, old man style. Tommy's still happened every Tuesday morning. Same booth, same black coffee, same eggs. Dana still complained I wasn't eating enough. Jack still argued with people about football. Life continuing, good sign. One Thursday afternoon in January, I drove toward Lakeview Cemetery. Ellie, I visited less than people think. Grief changes shape over years. Early grief demands presence. Later grief travels with you. Snow-covered parts of the ground. Thin, uneven, gray sky, quiet. I stood there holding nothing. Flowers felt unnecessary. She hated unnecessary things. You were right, I said quietly. Cold air, silence. You usually were. Wind moved lightly through bare branches. You saw it before I did. I smiled. Small, private. He found his way a little. Silence. Quiet. Necessary quiet. You'd probably tell me to stop hovering. Wind, cold, memory, love. Strange how people stay with you. No answer. Didn't need one. By February, something changed. Small, but real. Ethan called. Wednesday, 7:18 p.m. Hey, Dad. No presentation voice. No confidence performance. Just Ethan. Hey. You busy? No. Pause. Dangerous pause. Not dangerous anymore. Nervous. Different thing. I wanted to ask something. Okay. Can you help me? My chest tightened. Old instincts, old pain, old love. What? I'm interviewing Friday. Okay. Community Operations Director role. Okay. Could you look at my budget proposal? Silence. Real silence. Walker? I'm here. You okay? Yeah. No lie, actually okay. Yeah. You don't have to. I know. Long pause. I'd like to. Quiet. Then, thank you. 3 words. Simple. Heavy. Human. Friday afternoon he came over. Blue flannel, jeans, no Lexus. Sold. Mortgage refinanced differently. Lifestyle smaller. Reality-sized. Good. Necessary. He sat at my kitchen table. Same kitchen. Same chair he'd done homework in years ago. Funny. Life circles back sometimes. You nervous? I asked. Little. Good. What? Nervous people prepare. He laughed quietly, small laugh. Real laugh. Missed that sound. We worked 3 hours. Budget projections. Operational planning. Grant management strategy. He made mistakes. Good mistakes, learning mistakes, questions, lots of questions. Better, much better. You would have destroyed this years ago, he said once. No. Yeah. No. What? You weren't listening years ago. Silence, then, fair. Growth sounds quiet. Pay attention to this next part, because this matters. Forgiveness isn't a switch. Not if pain was real. Not if trust cracked. People online talk about forgiveness like wisdom means pretending nothing happened. No. Trust rebuilds slowly. Brick by brick, choice by choice. Some days I trusted Ethan. Some days I remembered emotionally manageable. Both existed. Both true. Healing isn't linear. Life isn't either. March brought basketball season. Lily scored 12 points one Saturday. Mason forgot his lines in a school performance and improvised badly enough half the audience laughed. Rachel smiled more. Good, necessary. Ethan looked lighter, still rebuilding, still carrying shame. Good, necessary. Not punishment. Correction, Jackie's word, still right. One Tuesday morning in April, I sat at Huntington Bank. Same branch, same parking lot, different season, different man. Phone buzzed, transfer notification. $1,200. Automatic monthly transfer. I smiled, because 6 weeks earlier, I'd changed everything. Ford Community Initiative no longer funded leadership expansion grants. No, something better. Something Ellie would have loved. The Eleanor Ford Community Scholarship, supporting first-generation college students from Northeast Ohio. Kids trying. Kids building. Kids standing. Without shame. Without hidden ladders. Without confusion. $1,200 every month, automatic. My new allowance. Not survival money, purpose money. Funny how life works. My son cut my allowance trying to teach me responsibility. Instead, he reminded me who I already was. A father, a husband, a man who survived grief. A man who quietly carried people he loved. A man who needed boundaries, even with family, especially family. You know something I've learned, love without boundaries becomes resentment. Help without honesty becomes confusion. And sacrifice without communication becomes invisible. Invisible sacrifices become dangerous. People forget. People misunderstand. People build stories around silence. If you're carrying people, quietly talk. If somebody loves you, respect them. If somebody helped build your life, remember. Not because you owe them forever. Because gratitude keeps people human. My son made mistakes. Big ones. Painful ones. So did I. I hid too much. Protected too much. Assumed too much. Parenting doesn't end. It changes. And sometimes loving your children means letting reality teach lessons love couldn't. If this story meant something to you, join our community by hitting that like button and subscribing for more real, raw, and family-centered stories. Drop a comment below and tell us, have you ever been in a situation like this? We read every single one. And as always, thank you for being a part of this.